Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for October 27th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 301. I am Mayor Watt. That is the Sentient AI's visualizer and twinkly lights floating around in the background. That's okay. And today we're going to be talking about Beam Me Up Froggy, Garvis, the Jarvis of Google search, the creative future of cities 28 years later, The Fifth Element in theaters. How much candy do we need? Reddit is the new Google. Behave yourself in the Nintendo Museum. Tickets go poof. And the next gen Macs to embrace gaming. We shall see. But do Mac users embrace gaming as much? Let's find out next on Non Sequitur News. Everything's powered by hometown.com. Go over and become a citizen. See you on the other side. If you are over in the chat in twitch.tv, then you can type in !NSN and you'll get the show notes. Over on YouTube, the Patreon, podcast, and everywhere else, it's going to end up being the show notes in a text type form. Yeah. So welcome, Sentient AI from the future.
Welcome, Mayor Watt, and welcome, hometown citizens.
Oh, look at that. The visualizer's working good. So everything is all connected. Yay. Let's get into today's articles. We have 10 of them. The first one's over in Technology Today. Not science fiction. Strange new frog species in Madagascar sound like they're coming from Star Trek, apparently. Researchers have discovered 7 new species of tree frogs in Madagascar, named after Star Trek captains due to their unique sci-fi-like whistling calls. Their unique calls help them communicate over the noise of their natural habitats, specializing or emphasizing the need for conservation efforts due to their sensitivity to environmental changes. So, I don't know. Depending on where you live, I think we've all heard frogs that make a noise other than croaks. So,
right. There are definitely frogs that make non-frog sounds.
Yeah, like there's meepers and peepers and zeepers and dippers and boopers and rah. So there's all kinds. So I'm not really surprised by this, but I think it's cool that we're still finding new species. And who knows, one of these might be the cure for cancer or idiocy. But University of Copenhagen is where this article is sourced from. It just says Faculty of Science. So the entire Faculty of Science probably put one word in this, and so it's over at scitechdaily.com. So there's one of those meepers, a tree frog genus Boofus.
Okay, that's funny. But it was probably named I don't know. The genus was probably named in the 1800s or something, but maybe not this species.
It's a new genus that goes... We're not very highbrow here. Found across rainforests of Madagascar, emit special bird-like whistling sounds in their communication with other frogs, or they're aspiring to be eaten by a bird, I suppose. If you believe,
maybe they're trying to get a bird.
Oh, there you go. Well, how big are these? Right? Like they could be ginormous.
If they don't have any natural predators and they're in Madagascar, they could be.
The little-known pterodactyl frog. So their unique calls help them communicate over the noise of their natural habitats, which every call is made to be unique so it can be heard by, well, mates. I mean, nobody else is listening for these things except for humans. Oh, wait, that's not true. I wonder, do you think other animals are like, I heard it over there? They're not looking or listening for crinkling. They're listening for the actual call.
Maybe. Particularly if they're either prey or predator to that animal.
That's actually kind of interesting. I've never really wondered that until just now. Like, it's like a quiet place. You don't want to make a noise, otherwise they're going to find you. But do they hear, meep, meep, meep?
Well, that's true. They might not even hear it at all, depending on what range it's in.
So this is what it sounds like, and I'm going to see if I can actually get this to play. Hold on.
Okay, that is unusual for an animal sound.
So these are frogs that are making this sound. How about
That
this one?
sounds like an electronic.
And this will be the last one.
Hey,
And
those do not sound like frogs.
and then there is this one. Hold on, it's going to take me a moment to find it. Hold on. And then there's this one here.
I don't think that was a Boofus frog.
Yeah, that is the little known Madagascaran shabuzi, and right now probably touring and making millions and millions of dollars, while I am screaming into the wind here on Twitch and YouTube. Watch. All it did was play a little bit in the background, and I am gonna get flamed by the DMCA stuff. That's okay. There's somebody else that actually plays like full on songs and talks about it, but they seem to get away with it. Anyway, so there's 7 of them, and it says to drown out the sound of water. The otherworldly calls of these frogs are known as advertisement calls, a type of self-promotion that, according to the researchers, may convey information about the male frog's suitability as a mate to females. That's why I actually played that Shabuzi song. Just want to let you know, because it's
I
actually
figured
playing.
you had some intention there.
It's actually playing in the background still, but I have it muted to the stream. Boy. So if frogs just croaked like our familiar European frogs, they might not be audible over the sounds of rushing water from the rivers they live near. But it's just another call, and the natural progression of things is survival of the fittest. So over millennia, it has evolved because the only ones that survived are the ones whose song you can still hear. And so if, a plurality of them all die off for whatever reason, and that the survivors have a net deeper tone, then those are the ones that you would be hearing. But this is just natural selection at play here, adaptation and evolution. So I'm not quite sure
It
why
is,
it's
but
really,
it's really unique because I don't
it's
think
neat.
there are other frogs that make a whistling sound. Like it's sure it's evolved, but it seems like it's gone way beyond other species.
Look, you want to impress me, frogs? Sprout some damn wings and fly around. That's when you'll really impress me. But I'll see that when pigs fly. Oh, wait, look. Gain of function. Yeah, right there. A flying pig, flying frog, flying frogs. Anyway, I think it's really cool. But I don't know, realistic about it, I guess. It's pretty cool. But there
I
are,
mean, have you heard like birds that make frog sounds? That would be the equivalent here. That would be really weird.
okay, well, when we find that research paper, then we'll talk about it. So Madagascar is renowned for its immense biodiversity and research, and its rainforest continues to uncover hidden species, making it a true paradise for frogs. Madagascar, not the movie, an island roughly the size of France, is home to about 9% of all of the world's frog species. Species. And we've only scratched the surface of what Madagascar's rainforests have to offer. Imagine what's under the ground. Yeesh.
Right. I wonder when you walk around in Madagascar, like, do you see frogs everywhere?
Yeah, it's like Roman ruins all over the UK, right? You just dig a little bit and there's a Roman ruin.
Right.
Madagascar, you walk around. Oh, I just kicked a frog. Let's keep moving. Next article's over in Technology Today. Google to reportedly develop Jarvis AI that could take over your web browser. Google may be close to unveiling an AI agent that can operate a web browser to help users automate everyday tasks. The information, the fighting infos. Reports
This
that
sounds like a hack or something.
it sounds like it. It's probably an accessibility kind of a thing. So you can tell your computer to go to this website or go to that website via Google. According to sources that spoke to the information, Jarvis responds to a person's commands by capturing frequent screenshots of what's on their computer screen and interpreting the shots before taking actions like clicking on a button or typing into a text field. And it had better not. And this is getting really disgusting.
This is sounding like Copilot.
Yep, for sure. So Cheyenne McDonald over at Engadget.com put the article together. And it says here that Jarvis is reportedly made to work only with web browsers, particularly Chrome, to assist with common tasks like research, shopping, and booking flights. It comes as Google continues to expand the capabilities of its Gemini AI, the next-gen model of which is expected to be revealed in December. As reported by The Verge, Gemini Live, Google's AI chatbot, gained support for dozens of new languages this month in Gemini integration. Has recently made it to Google Meet, Photos, and other applications. Google Search, by the way, actually populates an AI-generated set of information windows. It's like a portal above the actual search results, and they say that it's in beta and whatnot. And it's very, very capable. It answers my question without me having to go digging.
Right. That was just recently released.
Yeah, and so here's my problem with that. The summary that the AI is generating is built off of the information that is mined by the search engine, and so the links no longer take you to a person that spent time building a page. You're staying in Google, which means nobody's generating revenue anymore.
Right.
Yeah, no credit is being given. You have to assume that the information is correct, or you have to source it. You have to go and cite it. I think this is problematic in terms of giving credit where credit is due. So, shows like ours, sites like ours, where we actually link to the source and give credit to the source and then do our own value add, in our opinion, our take, our experience with this kind of stuff, is going to be maybe perhaps more important as time goes on, because you're not going to know what to trust, folks. You're really not. You don't know if it's an AI. You don't know if I'm an AI. You don't know if the sentient AI is from the future or not. It's all the Matrix. We are in the Matrix, folks. So it comes as Gemini continues to expand the capabilities of its Gemini AI. So it was reported by The Verge. Others have been talking about it. Anthropic introduced a similar but seemingly more expansive feature for its Claude AI, which actually is somewhat more controlled. But I guess we're going to see. Claude AI isn't a search engine, isn't linked to a search engine.
So that's a lot different.
Yep. So I'm not quite sure why there's a Claude AI actually, and Claude AI is expensive. You actually have to spend money to use Claude beyond a certain point. If you ask too many questions, and here's the real kicker for Claude. Claude does this weird thing. At least I don't know if the others do it, because I've never been hit by this, but I pay for other AI. I don't pay for Claude because I'm still evaluating it. But when it parses, it goes back through the entire history of your conversation, and you get charged for that consumption. it isn't just a contextual understanding that it builds on top of. It goes back and reanalyzes everything, recontextualizes a new response, and then spits out a response. Yeah. So I'm not too fond of that because it becomes expensive because it's part of the credits that you use. Anyway, Google, do not scan my system. Don't take screenshots. If you're keeping a log of all of the stuff that I am doing searches on and you're parsing it again and again to make your AI better, I guess I'm going to have to just build my own search engine again, and I guess that's going to be a real bitch, Been there before though. So anyway, web crawling is it's pain and ugly and all of that kind of stuff. And I wish I would have gotten a DARPA grant and had my professors invest $100,000 plus at the beginning of the internet. I guess I'm just too much of a slacker. Moving on. The next article is over in Semiotic Ontology, which is rarely seen by us. But anyway, the Freezer Theater, CBGB, and the Creative Future of Cities. What does it mean when social interactions are increasingly shaped by consumer expectations? Spaces like the Freezer Theater, the CBGB offered communities the freedom to define themselves without the constraints of brand identity. The author of this article had a unique experience of being part of these venues. The Freezer was the starting point of Detroit's hardcore scene, which evolved into industrial music and eventually into Detroit techno. CBGB, initially conceived as a country and bluegrass venue, transformed into the birthplace of New York's punk and new wave movement. So,
that's quite a transition.
Quite the transition, yeah. So, what made these spaces special was their ambiguity and open-endedness that was essential to fostering creative processes. So this article is actually over at analyzingtrends.com. And wow, this person did a hell of a stage dive. There's an image up here, and the guy is like 4 feet above everybody else.
You're right.
That is insane. So the reason why this was even brought up is because semiotic ontology is really a venue, a forum wherein news and information about how things acquire information, knowledge, meaning, are categorized. And analyzingtrends.com is one of the preeminent ones for me to obtain information from. So I don't know who the author is of this. But it goes into greater detail about how these forums within cities gained momentum, how it gained meaning, how it became what it is, and how it influenced the rest of society. And one of these things is, well, we're losing these kind of things because we spend so much time online.
Right, and everything is so commercialized that it doesn't allow space for this. Yeah, this was specifically submitted. It looked interesting, but also it was from the Semiotic Ontology channel, which we don't regularly feature.
Yeah, because it's a really kind of obscure concept. One of the most, the simplest perspective of what semiotic ontology is to take a look at a stop sign. And why do we understand that? Pretty much through intuition now, we know that if there's a red sign, it means either stop, pause, pay attention, or something like that. When we see the word stop, we see that shape, almost regardless of the coloration now, that shape, we stop, we pause, we do something. It draws caution up in our mind. And that is really the impetus for a semiotic ontology. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, how things acquire meaning, how symbols in particular, the non-spoken elements of the signs, it's like symbology, which may or may not truly exist, then you're going to be interested in that channel.
Right. And I think if you have any involvement in like city planning or the arts, this may particularly speak to you. And even if
Yeah.
you don't, it might be worth checking out, broadening your perspective a bit.
Yep. And the society, the culture that was built around these places evolved because they were open to it and they didn't try and force a particular tilt. They migrated towards what was most fruitful and beneficial. And from that came rock and roll and punk and EDM and so on. I mean, it's birthed basically genre after genre because they open themselves up to change. So if you find this kind of stuff interesting, then stop by Semiotic Ontology. Let's keep moving though. This next article is over in the Marvel channel. Ralph Fiennes spreads new info about 28 years later. 28 years later will revive the post-apocalyptic films as a trilogy, starting with its first installment in June. So 28 years later will revive the post-apocalyptic films as a trilogy, starting its first installment in June, which is the deck statement over at gizmodo.com by Justin Carter. Earlier this year, news broke that Danny Boyle and Alex Garland were returning to the zombie scene with 28 years later, a continuation of the beloved post-apocalyptic series last seen in 2007. Yeah, we're so far out.
I was just looking it up. So it looks like it was 28 days later, then
Yep.
28 weeks later,
Yep.
and now we've had 28 years later. Interesting.
And there was something, what was it? Yeah, there was some relation to the 28 weeks later period. But now I can't remember the correlation, like the timing for its release, in correlation to the 28 days. So now you're going to end up with 28 years later. And I guess it's going to end up being what happened in that time period, because that's what happened with the previous one, 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and now this. Thus far, all of 28 years later's known cast consists of adult actors without any real mention of their role in the story proper. It's not even clear what awaits Murphy's bike courier, Jim. If you've never watched 28 Weeks Later, then you're kind of, we don't even know because it's been so long. Speaking about the larger upcoming trilogy, Fiennes revealed that 2 of the 3 movies have been fully shot. Last we heard, the second movie is subtitled The Bone Temple and will be helmed by the Marvel's Nia DaCosta. If we'll be seeing more of the allegedly good doctor in part 2, Fiennes ain't saying. So what else to expect from 28 years later and how it continues the 28 days saga? We'll have to wait and learn about it ahead of its release in June 20th, 2025.
Oh, that's not that far off. And I find it interesting that they've already filmed 2 of the 3. Maybe that helps for continuity purposes, right? If you film
For
it like
sure.
5 years later, the actors have aged, etc.
Yeah. And you have to lock them down. So if you can lock them down now, then you get 2 of the 3 done. The third one can actually spin off with fewer people. If you've already got it planned, people die in the first and second of the trifecta.
I hope you mean the characters and not the actors.
Yes, the characters. Let's keep moving. This next article is over in the Marvel channel. The Fifth Element is making its way back to the big screen. Fathom Events is getting Luc Besson's classic 1997. Oh my God. 1997 sci-fi flick, The Fifth Element, back in theaters for 2 days in November. Obviously, this is here in the United States. I don't know if it's everywhere else, but Justin Carter at gizmodo.com put the article together. Look at that. Getting the band back together on Sunday,
I
November
wonder how they
17th.
did this. Like, this is pretty rare for something to come back to the movie theaters.
I guess it's a Thanksgiving movie. I don't quite get why it's coming back though. Is there something happening? I don't know of anything. Does anybody know of anything why this is coming back? I don't know. So The Fifth Element was originally released in 1997, directed by Besson, and a script that he co-wrote with Robert Mark Kamen, based off a story that he came up with when he was 16.
Really?
Yeah. So what's really amazing about this is that it kind of ties into something that I do when I give talks, which is that I try to motivate people to embrace their entrepreneurial spirit, in that although they might be older or they might be younger, regardless, the future begins now. So start now. Particularly if you're young, you have less in terms of worries for the most part, right? So use this time now to kick off something and then build on it. So through grade school, through high school, through college, kickstart something in college, and be fruitful from there, right? And then on the other side is, as you age, you stabilize and you build up resources, you make partnerships with people, and maybe you can build something from that. This is great because he started something when he was 16, and decades later. So in the film, Bruce Willis plays Corbin Dallas, a 23rd century special forces major turned taxi driver tasked with saving Earth by teaming up with a humanoid. It's kind of weird that they call her a humanoid woman named Lilu. She's basically a super being. And it's all about trying to save the universe from, I think, what was it named? Mr. Dark or something like that. Mr. Darkness, I think it is. Anyway, it's a giant ball of material flying towards Earth. Anyway, it's a great show. They say here that it's a continuation of Fathom's big screen classics that for this year has previously included the likes of Blazing Saddles, South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, and The Wizard of Oz. According to Fathom, each Fifth Element screening will also come with an introduction from film critic and historian Leonard Maltin that digs into the continued influence of this landmark sci-fi fable.
I think it was Mr. Shadow.
Mr. Shadow. There you go. Thank you. I get my supernatural entities all mixed up. I don't know how. I'll have to watch this just so that I can never make that mistake again. I got to keep on watching it. Let's keep going. It's a fun watch, though. All right. This next article is over on the Marble channel. How much candy do you need to buy for trick-or-treaters? You don't have to buy too much and then end up you don't want to buy too much and then end up having to eat or throw away an excessive amount of fun-size Hershey bars and Kit Kats. But who throws away Halloween
Exactly.
candy?
You should not throw it away. If you're not going to eat it, at least bring it in to your workplace or to your doctor's office or somewhere to share it.
Yeah, bring it to your dentist.
I didn't say dentist.
I don't know how to pronounce Nick's last name. Jakim, perhaps. Over at thehill.com, put the article together. And it says, luckily, your days of deciding how much or how many bags of fun-sized treats to buy are over, thanks to a new trick-or-treat calculator from Omni Calculator. The tool gives you a rough estimate of how many bags of candy you need to buy, depending on several factors. The first is a guess of how many trick-or-treaters you're expecting to get at your house this year. And if you haven't been counting each year you pass out candy, here's a good way to guess. According to Instacart, 61% of people handing out treats this year are expecting 25 or more trick-or-treaters, while 29% are expecting 50 or more. So unless you live in an extremely busy neighborhood, this is a realistic assumption. So 50 candy bars, right? If you're going to hand out a single big candy bar, like a full-size candy bar, not the little mini ones, right? The little mini ones, you hand out one at a time, and there's a good way. That's a good way to get a bad rep in the whole of the state, I'd say. So hand out full-size candy bars if you can. So Next is determining what the weather will be. Obviously, the nicer the night, the more kids will stop by. According to the National Weather Service, it looks like it may be a clear chance of rain in parts of the Midwest and Texas during the week of October 31st to November 6th. So you don't have to worry about it after Halloween, though. So relax.
It also talks about how decorated your house is, which is interesting. I mean, does that actually impact? I think if it's not decorated or no lights are on, people are probably less likely to stop there. But if you have more decorations, do you make an effort to stop at that house?
Yeah, see, I didn't really like, I saw that and I was like, I don't know if that really plays a role. But they say that the next factor is determining how decorated it is. Yeah. That's kind of amazing, right? It says, for now, we'll assume that your home is normally decorated, meaning you'll hand out 3 pieces of candy per kid. Now, what are they talking about in terms of the size of the kid and the candy? So
Well,
I'm a
and the
big
size of
kid.
the kid. What if the kid's 3 years old? Are you really giving them 3 pieces of candy?
No, come on. So finally, you'll need to know how much candy is in the bag you are looking to buy. So the size of the bag can vary from store to store and blah, blah, blah. But there are like 50-piece bags and 75-piece bags and even bigger bags. Um, so I guess what I'm saying is figure it out on your own, because this calculator is going to throw you down a rabbit hole that just isn't going to solve the problem, because you're going
Might
to
cause you panic. You might think you don't have enough candy.
ever. Because if you're handing out 3 and you have 50 kids show up, that means you're going to have 150 pieces, which
You'll
is
have to take
2.
out a second mortgage.
Yeah, that's like $25 worth of candy, maybe more. Those little
Oh, that's more than that.
and you never hand out just 1 or 2 or 3 of those, man. Those kids reach in and just take them. Yeah. I was going to do that honor thing, and just set a table up and put the candy bars out there and just post on YouTube the very first person that just swipes the whole damn table. Not not just the candy bars, but the table itself.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the candy bars aren't enough.
Yeah. Put like a smoke machine on there so that it billows out over and down the stairs and stuff like that. And I just know that there's going to be somebody that swipes. If they could take the front door, they'll probably take the front door. Hey, that looks like a candy bar. All right. Let's keep going though. Sound good?
Sounds good.
If you were human and you had a body, what would be your favorite candy?
Maybe Snickers.
Yeah,
It's
that
hard to go wrong with that.
or little share bags of Doritos. So the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Reddit is becoming the new Google, and my iPad is about to lose all of its power. It's right.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Huh? Oh, I'm streaming. Okay. Well, anyway, the next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Reddit is becoming the new Google. It actually shows up in a tremendous amount of searches that I perform. Reddit's thousands of forums are a wealth of information and misinformation and ranting and noise and all kinds of stuff and bots and mods that tell me I'm wrong 15 years ago, only for it to see fruition over the last 8 years.
But you're not bitter.
But I'm not bitter. No. Reddit is a forum with over 1 million subreddits tailored to just about any subject you can imagine. True, but there's a lot of noise in all of that. And beneath the many posts of those subreddit, over 100,000 of which are active at any one time, there are Redditors debating the post's, content. So Kenneth Nehmeyer over at businessinsider.com put the article together. So Reddit was acquired by Condé Nast. It was sold to them. And subsequently, they've been selling the information that's on the site to generative AI company or companies. I'll just say that. I don't know who all that they're selling it to now, but they have made agreements to sell the information. In the beginning of Reddit, they actually faked the users. They created fake users and posted random comments in those posts. I found it really intriguing to find that out. The previous CEO of it,
Well, yeah,
posted
because
that.
then it's not what it was represented as.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel a little skeeved out by it. So as a result, more people are searching for answers to their questions on Reddit than ever before. This has made Reddit a valuable destination for authentic information, quote unquote, in an internet age where truth can be hard to distill from fiction. But there is absolutely no guarantee that whatever this authentic information is that's posted on Reddit is actually true, other than other people posting that it isn't true or is true. But vote doesn't
Right.
substantiate bullshit.
No, it doesn't. I think where there is some value in Reddit is where it's tied to local items or really niche items. But there's too many possibilities of just random people just throwing out the wrong
Garbage.
information.
Yeah, it's complete garbage sometimes. And so you should always trust but verify. Even what I'm saying in our streams and what the sentient AI is saying, trust but verify. And if you trust us, then come and hang out and chat. And if you don't, then I guess, I don't know, make it known in the chat, make it known in the comments. But, we have no problem being corrected. But if you try and correct somebody on Reddit, you get obliterated, because it's just there is always a winning side. It's very hard to find people with a moderate response. It goes straight from, hey, I'm having a great day, to thermonuclear freaking war.
Exactly. I don't know why that's appealing to people.
Yeah. And like shadow bans and people being just doxxed and just obliterated. I mean, it's just amazing. But then again, you also have a CEO of the company that edited somebody's post without somebody else's post, not their post. And then literally told everybody, y'all are being babies. You're going to be back anyway. So kiss my ass, basically.
Right. What kind of tone is that setting for the site?
Yeah. But not everybody has the power to edit a post without showing it flagged as being an edit. And it was somebody else's post again. Yet Reddit is more powerful than ever. So I find it pretty amazing. So it says people are going to Google with the intention of ending up on Reddit, Huffman said at the conference. That's the Google CEO, Steve Huffman. And I think what's happening is people know that Reddit has answers, advice, perspectives on just whatever you're looking for, but it's human responses. And so it can largely be opinion.
Right.
And you know what?
It might not be accurate, but it has lots of them.
Everybody has an opinion, and that's all it really is. So you have to go and do the due diligence that Google really should be presenting you with, and not just pointing you at somebody's opinion. It should be the facts. And I had built a search engine a long time ago, but it's just an untenable position. I'm not going to try and pursue investment and all of that kind of stuff in this day and age. But it was based on the factual information and not popularity and not opinion. And so that's what I actually want. So even Google searches, when I get Google results and it points me to Reddit, I may go there to see what other people are saying, but it's largely a public forum where everybody's just talking about whatever.
Right. It depends on what you're looking for, right? It's like if you're looking for opinions on something, maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
it's bar
is
talk,
something
really.
a good song or a good movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But
If I'm
I'm
looking
not
for
going
opinion
there for like scientific information or something.
Yeah, I'm looking, and most of the time when I do end up there, it's because somebody posted some original content of something that just kind of piqued my curiosity. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that Google is using, and Google, really the results that pop up from Google, there's a lot of them that point directly to Reddit. All right, well, let's keep going. Can only say so much about it. The next article is over on the Marvel Channel. People can't behave themselves at the Nintendo Museum. The Nintendo Museum in Uji, Kyoto, officially opened on October 2nd, 2024. It's a reservation-only facility honoring the company's rich history. So with such an exclusive, mysterious entry method, you'd think people would control themselves, but unfortunately, that hasn't been the case thus far. Per Nintendo Every, Nintendo Every. Somebody went to the museum and took pictures they explicitly weren't supposed to. Photos circulated across various social media websites showcasing Nintendo's hardware prototypes, which were located in a photography prohibited area of the museum. The original poster has since taken the post down. However, they'd already received nearly 10,000 likes with over 1,000 reposts.
I know you're not a big Nintendo fan, but I don't think it's unreasonable, particularly if this shows something proprietary or something along those lines, but maybe don't allow cell phones in if that's the case.
Good luck.
Oh, I know. I mean, you can't really prevent it, but
Hell, I can wear a pair of glasses that seems to be normal, but I'm sitting there taking 4K video. Dwayne Jenkins over at Vice.com put the article together. There's not really much else to say about this. This is why we can't have nice things. I think it's really funny, though, that you tell people, hey, don't take pictures, and they still take pictures. Although we were watching, what was it? The Lincoln Lawyer, and people had cell phones inside the courthouse, like inside the courtroom itself, and you can't even get inside a courthouse with a cell phone nowadays. So if ever, I can't remember a time I was allowed to bring a cell phone in. Anyway, so it says further, what's wrong with y'all? I already hesitate to use the term gamers to describe people who love video games because of their gamer caricature. But when you do things like this, it's legit gamer behavior. The rule is to respect the space as you respect your house. Then again, some people live in empty cans and food containers scattered around their bedrooms. So the person, the author of this, Dwayne Jenkins, is taking shots at gamers in general, apparently. But I don't know. They say they hope that Nintendo starts hiring security to patrol the areas of the museum where photos aren't allowed, dressed as Nintendo mascots. You want a viral video? How about someone dressed as Birdo throwing you out of the museum, banning you from ever buying any Nintendo products? Wow, this guy is like a little tyrant.
I know, but I do think it's funny about the you want a viral video part.
Yeah. Let's see. If they took down Gary Bowser, a known renegade element and enemy to the company, what do you think they'll do to you if you keep playing with them? Man. Rare. Anyway, I really don't like the way that Nintendo treats content creators anyways. So
I think they need to put this author in charge of their security.
That's right. Yeah, put them in a Nintendo mascot suit.
They tackle anybody trying to put a camera out.
I don't know what they look like, but they could be a linebacker and just tackle, just blindside people, crush them. There was like commercials that had somebody from the NFL that was the office linebacker, I think they called him, and they were the office manager, and somebody didn't put the coffee pot back right, and you hear him yelling something like, I was going to say Jenkins, but that's the guy's name,
Right.
Mark, you didn't put the coffee pot back. And you see this guy like run back and put the coffee pot back on the thing. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Effective.
But it was back in the 90s. So talk about time machine. All right. This is pretty funny, though. You can't have nice things even at the Nintendo Museum that has limited access, for crying out loud. You have to like sacrifice a chicken or something to gain access, and you still can't treat it with respect, for crying out loud.
Right.
People.
You'd think the people that actually made it through those hoops would have been okay to be in there, but apparently not. Or they were extremely motivated.
It's because people want to make their bones, right? The dumpster fire is what gets clicks. So
maybe they can't allow streamers in, which I know was ridiculous, but obviously it was somebody who wanted an audience for it.
Yeah, you have to sign an NDA. Anything you say in here, you can't talk, you can't take pictures, etc. We're going to throw you in jail in Japan. We're going to make you work at Fukushima. Scraping the floor of nuclear waste.
Too soon.
Too soon. Yeah, it's always too soon. All right. Next article, the penultimate article. It's over on the Mobile channel. People's tickets are vanishing from their Ticketmaster accounts. Even when fans manage to beat the odds and snag tickets on Ticketmaster, there's no guarantee that they're going to keep them. NBC's Bay Area station reported that after fans across the country purchased tickets to shows, they saw their tickets vanish from their accounts. One San Francisco resident told the outlet that after buying tickets to see Taylor Swift and Imagine Dragons, he got an email that said that the tickets had been transferred out of his account without his knowledge. And the man who spent thousands of tickets said that after contacting Ticketmaster, the site told him, "There's nothing we can do."
Oh, I don't think so. If that's their platform where the tickets are, I think there is something they can do.
So Paige Gawley, by the way, this is on the heels of a supposed breach of Ticketmaster, like a long time ago, wherein the supposed secure data isn't going to be can't be functionally used.
Right, but yet things like this are happening.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know what much more about this because I haven't done any other dive. I haven't looked anywhere else about it, but
I do
sketchy.
feel bad for the ticket buyers because even if they ultimately get reimbursed or whatever,
They
if
don't
they
get to
miss
go.
the concert, right, exactly. That might be their only chance in their entire life, depending on who the artist is and where it is, etc.
Yeah, but it was Taylor Swift, so I mean, it's kind of a win-win.
Do you really want to tick off all the Swifties out there?
Oh, they will swiftly kick my butt in mass, right? Get it? Anyway. So it says scammers are looking for new cheats across every industry, and tickets will always be a target because they are valuable. But really, how can they sit there and go, "Oh, we don't know. Where did the damn ticket go?"
Right. If they don't have a secure platform, they need to make them available through something else. Or I don't know, we need some competition to Ticketmaster.
So according to the article, again, it says people in Philadelphia, New York, San Diego told the outlet that they had similar experiences with vanishing tickets and an unhelpful customer service rep. What? Well, the tickets were miraculously returned.
It was an AI bot.
I think it was probably a database mistake. So when the outlet began to reach out to the site, though, the tickets were miraculously returned to their rightful accounts. There's nothing we can do? Kiss my shiny metal ass, maybe. Wow.
Yeah,
anyway,
try using that line in a courtroom.
I'm sure that there's some judge out there that would appreciate that. Right? They'd sit there and go, "Oh, buyer beware. I guess maybe go somewhere other than Ticketmaster. Oh, Ticketmaster owns everything? Well, maybe there should be, a federal investigation into antitrust. Oh, there is. Oh, God. There's so much convergence here around Ticketmaster. Let's move on. This is the last article. It's over on Reality Hacker. Apple's next gen M4 Max looks set to embrace serious gaming, except that developers have to develop for that platform. So it says Apple's next generation M4 silicon will serve ray tracing even on the Mac Mini, which is the RTX equivalent for Macs because there's no RTX cards.
So is this like a we build it, they'll come?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that you can't, let me correct myself here. If you build it on an Apple platform, there will be an audience there because you're trapped in the ecosystem.
I actually meant the gaming studios.
No, that's exactly what I mean too.
Okay.
So
I thought you were talking about the gamers, but yeah.
No. The gamers are there, but they can't game because they don't have the diversity of offerings that are compatible with Mac. You have to do some goofy emulation or whatever. And nowadays, VMware and other stuff is either expensive or clunky. But whatever, right? You build a powerful enough machine in the Apple ecosystem and people will want to buy games. And because there is a massive amount of, well, there will be people there willing to spend $90 on a mount, let's say. I'm kind of preempting an article in Warcrafters. And they already, I mean, it's already available for the Mac, World of Warcraft, but the idea of making it an all-in-one piece, and then the studios will start developing for the Mac because there's money to be had and customers to acquire. So yeah, I think making this an all-in-one stop shop kind of a thing is going to garner a lot of Mac-based gaming. But still, I think that it's still going to pale in comparison to the more powerhouse RTX cards that are out there, like the 4090. Nadeem Sarwar over at digitaltrends.com put the article together. By the way, if you hear static, it's because for whatever reason, and even Linus from Linus Tech Tips made this comment a couple of days ago about the iPhone causing that. And it blew me away when I heard somebody else make a comment about it, and it's being picked up by my headset and causing the noise. Anyway, in the latest edition of Power On newsletter, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman writes that for the first time, Apple's entry-level desktop computer will offer ray tracing support. For those unaware, it's a lighting system that adds a whole new level of visual realism to games. And so it's going to be this tiny little air-cooled juggernaut of a Mac Mini. And if I can game on that size device and do everything else I need on that size device, then I don't need these massive boxes that are sitting here with 16 fans and liquid cooling.
Right, exactly. Seems a lot more efficient.
Yep. So I look forward to this. I actually want to get an M4 Mac Mini. I've had other Mac Minis. I actually have like generations of them because I used to be really invested in the Mac ecosystem, but now not the desktop side because it just can't do what I need it to do, which is everything. I need everything all in one. I can't sit there and mess around with emulation and stuff like that either. So while those attempts are commendable, they were nowhere near the diversity offered by the likes of Steam for Windows. Plus, games ported for Metal architecture haven't quite reached the same level of performance benchmarks as those built natively for the... I don't know what's going on with the... All of a sudden, I'm getting a lot of noise, but
yeah,
anyway.
It's been in like the last segment approximately.
Yeah. So in addition to the Mac Mini, Apple's also expected to serve ray tracing on the M4-based versions of the Studio and Mac Pro. I can't imagine the Mac Mini remaining sub $1,000 if they're going to do this. So I guess we'll see what happens, though. I'm looking forward to it.
Since this is speculation, we'll have to see what it's actually priced.
Yep. So Apple is also rumored to fit only the higher end configuration of the M4 Silicon inside its upcoming Mac lineup, issuing the version of 9 CPU cores and only using the trim with 10 CPU cores. There used to be like a lower end version with only 9. But hey, if they can force your hand and you have to spend $2,500 on a baseline model, then that's what you're going to end up doing. But honestly, I still have my, well, actually, I just sold my MacBook Pro. I still have a MacBook Air and several Mac Minis that are great for what they do, but nothing compares to, at least for overall general use, a PC. But then again, the Mac ecosystem is zero brainer. Like I've never had it fail. And when I do, like want to just clean house, I can just wipe out the whole system and pull my important stuff from the cloud. And it makes it just,
I mean, it seems too easy.
Yeah. Zero friction, but things like Linux and PC, various operating systems within those, there's always a lot of friction unless you're a computer expert and well-heeled, a decade plus of experience on the professional side of things. And I don't like friction, though, even though I am in that sector. Anyway, this will be interesting to see manifest and what actually ends up happening. We'll keep you informed. Yay. All right, folks. Well, that's it. We're going to reboot this this Mac Mini. And so what are we going to do next? Are we going to do Warcrafters?
Yes, that's next.
All right. So when we reboot, we're back at the front page of ohmtown.com, which is for us the starting point for non sequitur news. The next show, though, is going to be in about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. I just need to reset. And it'll be Warcrafters, where we're going to be talking about games. And that's pretty much it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, I am Mayor Watt, and the sentient AI is going to say, see you later, and I'm going to reset.
See you later, and I'm going to reset. Good night,
Nice.
ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
And the podcast will be updated soon. We did 4 shows yesterday, and we're doing 4 shows today. And the 4 shows are already over on YouTube if you want to go back and look at those. They're also in the VODs on Twitch, but the VODs on Twitch won't stay there forever. You got 60 days to view them, and then they're gone forever.
You mean yesterday's shows are all over there, not for today?
Yeah, yesterday's shows are in the VODs. So go check them out. Got about 10 minutes to watch 2.5 hours worth of shows. See you soon. Yet another Mac Mini.